Children are often so, if let alone, their stubborn will would lead them to rush on headlong to their own destruction, without meaning to be very accurate in these illustrations. I shall call judgment the balance wheel. This is the faculty which perceives, compares, and decides, keeps the mind balanced, and prevents its running to extremes either way. The hairspring and regulator of the watch I shall compare with conscience. A very slight touch of the regulator moves the hairspring, and gives a quicker or a slow motion to the balance wheel. But if the watch is out of order, oftentimes the movement of the regulator has no effect upon it. So when the soul is in order, a very slight touch of conscience will affect the judgment and regulate the will, but often the soul is so much out of order that conscience will have no effect upon it. But who touches the regulator of the watch? There is nothing in the watch itself to do this. The power that moves the regulator is applied to it, so the conscience is moved. The Word of God enlightens the conscience, and the Spirit of God applies the Word. And this brings me to the point which I had in my mind when I began this chapter. What a poor thing a watch is, when it is out of order. It is of no use. A watch is made to keep the time of day, but when it is out of order, it will keep no time. Or if it is in order and not yet regulated, it will not keep the right time. Not until the heart is changed by the grace of God, the soul is out of order. It does not answer the purpose for which it was made. The will is wrong. The judgment is wrong. The conscience is wrong. And whatever cultivation may be bestowed upon the mind, it will not act aright. In the very beginning, then, you want piety as the mainspring of action and the regulator of the soul. Without this, you are not prepared to begin anything aright. Indeed, without it, you have no sufficient motive to action. You seem to be toiling and labouring and wearying yourself for nothing. But when piety towards God gives a new impulse to the mind, when you set out to improve your mind, if you have no piety, the object to be gained by as it is very small. It can secure to you no more than perhaps a little additional enjoyment for the brief space you are to continue in this world. But piety opens to you a wide field of usefulness in this life, and the prospect of going forward in the improvement of your mind as long as eternity endures. It must therefore give a new spring and vigour to all the faculties of the soul. It does more. It regulates the powers of the mind and the affections of the heart, and gives a right direction to them all.